Okay, today, so we're going to be making our next owl for the Superb Owl book. So stick around and we'll show you what we're doing. So, Superb Owl time. Welcome back to a Kooky Corner of YouTube, and welcome back to anybody who's returning. If you're here for the first time, check out the Owl Collection playlist because that will take you through all we've made so far. I know a few people have made their own Superb Owl books to contain their owls. So yes, so we've got quite a few. It's getting to be quite a fat book now, isn't it? It's filling up really nicely. So from last time we have Pascal and Pascalina. They are the Easter owls, and if you check back on last month's posting in the owl collection, you'll see how to get hold of the pattern so that you can make your own Easter owls. But I've moved on. We have another owl. His name is Elton. This is Elton Owl, and he is very, very bright and very, very sparkly as per the Elton that we all know. And he has got some holographic eyes. He's got glittery legs. He's got sparkles, and he's got this beautiful tail feather, all of which go together to make him into a very, very special owl indeed. Now, Elton, great, but what would he have been without a Bernie? So I'm going to do a Bernie Taupin. I'm never sure how to say that now. I'm going to do a Bernie to go along with Elton. Now, he's not going to be as bright and sparkly. He's going to be more of natural owl colours. Is that a thing? Kind of ish, you know, bright but natural. So I'm going to do Bernie. It's going to be the same pattern as for Elton, but it's just going to be done in different colours. So you can see how you can adapt the pattern to change it for whatever owl that you would like to put in your Superb Owl book. So these can also be framed and given away as gifts. They don't have to be put in a book. So you could frame them, you could put them on the front of a greetings card. You know, it really is up to you, whatever you want to do with your owl. I've just chosen to keep them all together in this little book, which is, as I say, filling up rather nicely. Okay, so let's have a look at how to make a Bernie to go along with our Elton. So for Bernie, I've gone for, so we look back at Elton. Elton's on quite a dark background, and I'm imagining him on the stage, but he's got lots of glittery pieces in there as well. So for Bernie was more in the background, but very, very important. So what I've gone with is it's like a light teal. I've placed that on a little bit of felt on the back just to give it some body while we stitch through it. Layered up with some of this spotty fabric, and then I've got a little bit of this brown that echoes the brown in the spots there, just as a little piece to go there. And then Bernie will sit on top of this. But before I get Bernie and cut him out and everything, what I want to do is to go along my piece with a running stitch, starting at the corner there and then just weaving my way up basically with a running stitch just to hold all of this together. Now if you want to, you could use a little bit of glue, fabric glue, just to hold in the middle, just to hold your pieces together. I'm just going to wing it because I think this is all going to be fine. I've got some clips if I need them, and I'm just going to find one of the colours in here out of my thread collection, probably one of the browner ones, and then just give this some kind of linkage together, because I think the thread colour tends to link all the rest of them together, however different they may be. So that's what I'm going to go and do now. So I'm going to stitch the running stitch all the way, and I'll be back to show you in a moment. So this was my original drawing of Elton Owl, and I did try him with boots on, but it really didn't work out. It didn't look right. So in the end I just gave him glittery legs, which is the bits you'll find on your pattern. I mean, if you want to try and construct him some platform boots, you know, as per the original, then do go ahead and have a go. I'd love to see. So now on to Bernie. Let me move Elton out of the way. Well, the drawing of Elton. I have put together my Bernie on his background. So what we've got here is he's got a felty body. He has got some velour face piece there, and he's got brads that I've actually put in already. So I've got these two little flower decorations that have made his eyes, the surround of his eyes should I say, and then I've got two brads that I've put through there to hold all that together. He's got a different shaped beak just to make it a little bit different, and he's facing the other way, so we can see this Elton is facing that way. We can see his tail pointing up in a different way, so it's kind of like the opposite. And then he's got more pronounced wing areas, but you can do it however you like. I think I'm going to give you the pattern and then you just go ahead and change it as per you see fit. Let me take you a bit closer in. There we go. So if we can see, have a look on Elton now. What I've done is I've just gone on over-sew stitch all around his eye area and around his tummy, and then I've done a straight stitch to attach him to the background because felt's not going to fray. I mean, you could still do a straight stitch on his tummy and his eye if you want, but I just think the over-sew stitch just adds a little bit of extra. And then with Bernie, instead of doing the glittery legs, I will either do him some stitched legs, which I think would suit him better, perhaps, or I could cut some out of felt, but I think at the minute what I'm going to go with is the stitchy legs because I think they'd suit him really well. And instead of the flamboyant purple flower, he's got like a more subdued yellow and black flower that matches his colourway, I think. So what I need to go and do now is to stitch all the way around Bernie like I did with Elton, attach him to the background, and then see if there are any other areas left that I could stitch into like I did on this one here for Elton. And also in the background there I added some more stitches, so we'll see what we can add into our Bernie when we when we get to him. But I think I'm going to spend a happy few minutes now stitching him all down, making sure everything's secure, and yeah, I'll be back to show you. If you want a more in-depth of how to stitch, have a look back at some of the owl videos that I've done for the other owls, and you see more about how to put the background together and more about how I choose fabrics and threads, etc. That's all in that playlist. So for now, I'm just going to go and stitch my boy down onto the background. So here is Bernie. He's all stitched down. I'll just go through what I did with him. Obviously I've gone around in like a back stitch to fasten parts of it down. I've done over sew on his face and on his tummy, back stitch on his wings, and then I gave him some little chain stitched feet with some random straight stitches there just to get his feet in. A couple of buttons on there. He's got his nice floofy tail. We've got the beak with the two beak holes, his nostrils there, and I did some V stitches into his tummy just to give a little bit of detail there. In the background I've got a little bit of the variegated fluorescent thread that's gone into the back there, and just added a little bit more detail and gave just some hints of the little circles underneath there. So there they are together. We've got Elton and we've got Bernie. They're going to fit in really nicely into the book. Now, another thing I was thinking of letting you know is that the pattern obviously is going to be on my Facebook group. the Facebook group will have the pattern in the file section, and then once you've got the pattern, you'll be able to make these. So these are just reversed images of each other, so you can just play around with the pattern. There isn't any pattern for the eyes, so if you wanted to do something different from the flowery or the star eyes, there's the pattern for the stars. The flowers are just some kind of little ornamentation that you can buy. So another thing you could do, you could have buttons for eyes, which would work, or you could cut out circles of felt for eyes, which would also work. But you play around with it. I want you to play around with it and see what you can come up with for your particular owl. You don't have to do an Elton or a Bernie. You could still just use a pattern and call it something else. And on that note, I would like you to make me some suggestions of other owls that we could do for the Superb Owl Book. So if you can think of an owl that or a person you'd like commemorated as an owl in the owl book, put a little note down underneath in the comments section. I'd be very interested to see what you would like me to create. So we've got our owl book. Let me take you up a little further now. Here we go. So we've got a space for Elton, and I'm going to stitch him in there, fit in there rather nicely. And then over the page we've got Bernie, and I've done their little name tags there in there already, and I think both Elton and Bernie are rather lovely. Although I do say so myself. I've grown very attached to them. Also, I've got a little story about Elton. I did initially put Elton on a different background, and it just was not working. So what I did was, I thought, this is not working. So I took him off the background, cut around him, and found a new background. So don't be afraid if it's not working for you, swap it up, change it around. And I think it worked really well. And I've also got, it's a bit more stiff, the fabric, but it wasn't a great amount of stiffness to contend with. And so, yeah. Don't be afraid to switch it up and change it round if you don't like it. So there he is on his new background. Now the other thing you can do with the pattern, as I was saying, it's going to be the file section. You can use it as paper. So you could do collage. So you could do paper collage of the owl and make that into a card or whatever you want to make it into. As I say, once you've got the pattern, you can just go to town, make yourself a few owl cards out of collage. Anyway, that's enough from me. I hope you've enjoyed this, and it will be lovely to see what you all come up with. And don't forget to post me some pictures in the Facebook group so I can see how you get on as well. Anyway, that's enough from me. Bye for now.